Hey guys, today for breakfast, Rudy's getting some pork uterus, a pork tongue.
This is something Cambodian tribes would eat after mutilating a tourist. It's like I'm watching the Sawyer family prepare a Christmas dinner. And you could poke a fat man's nipple and watch his moves ripple if you think you're telling me that's not a pickled penis that's lying in the middle. Like, who is this even catered to? Bagul, the eater of children? I just find it very hard to believe somebody's gonna stumble across this and be like, damn, just like mother used to make, this is my shit. Nothing hits more than a bowl of kangaroo clit. Like, there's no way you're telling me this woman didn't scrape this shit right out of a dumpster behind an abortion clinic. I mean, this looks like the aftermath of a jigsaw trap, and here this woman is casually explaining this shit with 24/7 lo-fi radio music in the background, going step by step, acting like she didn't violently rip out the intestines of a homeless man in her backyard 5 minutes before filming this. Like, she has to be a wanted fugitive in all 50 states, because this just looks like a borderline hate crime. Welcome back, riders. I'm Guy Fieri. On this episode of Diners, Drive-In, and Dives, we're heading on down to Tedayuca Temple to eat the remains of a 7-year-old that the Aztecs just sacrificed. But in all fairness, this just looks like a regular menu item you would find at your local Arby's, so I really can't knock it until I try it, even though I'm almost certain if I took a bite of that Buffalo Billy chili, I would have to pop an enema on the spot before I start to convulse on the floor.
I ain't desperate, got a death wish, wake up every morning.
Alright, welcome back, ladies and ladies with dicks. So I'm sure everybody has their own special meal and combinations that other people would call gross, but it holds a special place in your heart. Well, today we're gonna be throwing that out the fucking window because I came across some methed out cannibals that label themselves a chef that are taking over the cooking section of TikTok. The shit you're about to see makes UK meals look like a goddamn delicacy, and those motherfuckers still eat like the Germans are still flying overhead. Like beef Wellington. What in the flying hell even is this? Why is there a meatloaf and a pineapple? Toad in the hole just sounds like a goddamn erotic sex position. This looks like a fucking museum attraction where an insect is stuck in amber. The bubonic plague is over. Why are we still eating shit that looks like it would come straight out of a Hobbit feast in the Lord of the Rings? There's a lot of terrible unlicensed chef that said, yeah, I used a microwave before, that post their own special recipes on TikTok. But after I was sitting on the toilet preparing for my stomach to explode by scrolling through some of these chefs, I found one that made me so happy I think I even felt my asshole smile. This has to be the worst one out of all of them, and this ex-convict that shares her favorite delight she made out of a prison toilet is called Flomo Crafts. It's basically like 5-minute crafts if they indulge themselves into food porn. And you know how all life hack videos are, they always take the most simplest of tasks and add the most over-the-top, overcomplicated process that's supposed to make your life easier, but in reality it actually just makes it a living hell. Like, oh, you ever got that annoying pimple on your nose before picture day? Then just make out with the cameraman. If you make out with the cameraman, he'll be too distracted to take your picture for the yearbook, and no one would ever have to see your hideous face again when you're facing 10 years in federal prison for sexual assault, you sick fuck. Or ever taking a shit and you run out of toilet paper and then just think very hard until it goes away. There's always the most useless strings of information that benefits absolutely nobody besides a couple Kingsman agents that might be trying to make a lethal weapon out of household items. So take the most useless thing that's known to man, introduce that into the world of culinary arts, and boom, you end up getting this demented, dilated, nippled, mentally crippled psychopath in your fucking kitchen. I swear to God, all of her meals look like something Papa Jupiter of the Hill people would make if he created a Pinterest page. So without any more blabbering, let's take a look at these delightful delights that are guaranteed to trigger your fight or flight.
You ever cooked cabbage this way? It's easy and incredibly delicious.
If there is one living, breathing person with a pulse that sees this and genuinely thinks to himself, finally, the answer to all my prayers, something that can finally win my wife back and stop my chronic crocodile addiction, by creating a fucking bird's nest out of lettuce and meatballs, and there's just no hope for you. You might as well just hang up the cleats now and go home. I mean, this shit looks like a Sunday special that would be served fresh out of a heroin camp. This looks even too cruel for prisoners of war to eat, let alone any other civilized human being. Like, what is the end objective here? Because she introduces motherfucker talking about how to heat up the cabbage. Like, what roles did the meatballs even play in this? You might as well rip out some insulation out of your walls to warm up your casserole while you're at it too. I mean, hell, it looks like something a contestant on grocery games would create if they shooted up ketamine in the parking lot before walking in. But maybe I'm just not seeing the bigger picture here. They say every chef puts their heart into their meals, but I'm wondering how many fucking hearts she used to make this one.
For our recipe, we'll need 1 whole cabbage.
Yes, the most sacred ingredient that's almost in every food, second to rat poison, a whole head of cabbage. It's my favorite part of every feast in the Shire. I just love coming over to Grandma's, giving her a nice big hug, and she slaps me in the face with a whole head of cabbage and raw bull testicles for dinner.
Now cut the cabbage to carve a hole in its middle. This recipe is very simple to make.
Yeah, nothing says simple like dissecting a vegetable into a tic-tac-toe board. When I think of quick and easy, I think of open heart surgery. So it's very thoughtful for this woman to cater to the OCD community by giving them a tutorial on how to make a perfect 8x8 grid to feed their family. It's like I'm watching Kid Death whip up a delicious dinner with this type of perfect symmetry.
Very tasty and perfect for your lunch. You'll love it.
Far be it for me to question the master of cabbage cutting here, but couldn't you just carve out one giant piece instead of playing Fruit Ninja with the bit? I feel like just cutting out one giant piece would save you a bunch of time and stress. When you're ready to have intercourse with a woman, you don't say, hold on, sweetheart, allow me to assemble my erector defector, and then you start applying silly bands onto your penis. No, you just put a fucking condom on. Much like this lettuce, you want to put a hole in it, you dig a hole in it, not do laser eye surgery on the bitch. Just take it all out with one swing. It just looks so counterproductive. It's like I'm watching an inbred trying to focus on carving his first jack-o'-lantern for Halloween while his Uncle Pop drives his sister in the background with a wolf mask on.
And our cabbage should look like this.
At this point, I feel like you just should have shot a cannonball into it. You would have got the same result.
1 teaspoon of mild paprika. 1 teaspoon of salt.
This bitch just dumped in a bag of Horton's driveway salt. That is not salt. That is a freshly baked batch of Colombian cocaine. You know, now it's all making sense. I knew there was no way this woman wasn't on hard drugs by the way she was cooking, but my suspicion has been confirmed because this bitch just dropped a whole ass 8-ball into the bowl to add some zest in her recipe. Also, I love how she used every damn measurement that's been founded by man. She went from cups to grams to teaspoons. Hell, I wouldn't be surprised if she busted out a compass to see what direction she should dump the lottery ticket shaving she was going to apply next.
A drizzle of olive oil.
Everything she does reminds me of those cheese cutters at Olive Garden. Oh, hey, sir, you want any cheese on your pasta? Just tell me when to stop, okay? Oh, you said that's enough? Now, how about a little more? No, you need a little more. Listen, you fucking sloppy bitch. You're gonna eat all of it, and you're gonna like it. You're the first person that ate in our establishment in the last 17 years, and you got me damned if you think you're not eating all of this. Please, stay, please. We accept coupons. Point being, she always says she's gonna add a little twiddly dink of seasoning and salt and sauce for everything she has, and she ends up using over half of the goddamn container. This woman takes almost every recommended serving size and somehow turns it into a triple bypass surgery. I mean, just look at it. It reminds me of a goddamn placenta you would see come out of an incubator.
And mix these ingredients well with your hands. Take a moment to tell me where you're watching us from.
Oh, I'll be happy to tell you where I'm watching this from. A fucking ambulance, after I try to recreate your recipe in my own home. And I'm not gonna ignore the 15 health violations this woman just broke by putting her hands in raw meat, hand sprinkling a bunch of plants and salt and her grandmother's ashes in the bowl, then proceeded to put her hands back into the said bowl just to sexually stimulate the creature she just made, all without washing her hands. So she practically just created a whole biological weapon of warfare with what we just seen, with all the damn salmonella and E. coli that's brewing in there, and quite frankly, I'm one more unlicensed ingredient away from calling poison control.
Us from, so that I can personally thank you for following our recipes. We'd love to know.
Well, I'm sure they would just love to tell you if they weren't residing in a hospice bed after undergoing a vegetative coma. I refuse to believe there's one person that saw this and just couldn't help but making it for themselves, unless their goal was to poison somebody. You know what, actually, matter of fact, let's take a look at some of the comments or the little Yelp reviews that people left down below. Actually, might do this one. Generally looks good. Reminds me of food from years ago. Yeah, maybe during the 1400s. I'm so confused. Is this person a pilgrim that sailed on the Mayweather and this is what the Native Americans greeted her with to eat? Like, what food in the last 200 years have looked like this? Besides a single mother of 3 making this for her kids during the Irish fucking famine. I've never seen such a fitting name for such a disturbing comment. I can already tell this woman crawls on all 4s going up the stairs and collects hair she finds on the barbershop floor. I'm also positive it probably took her 30 minutes to type this because of the difficulty she had writing a message while being confined in a straitjacket. But one voice can't speak for a whole room, so let's look at another comment a satisfied customer made after watching this product. My phone? See, this exactly proves the dangers of this woman's cooking. This man probably had a family, wife, perhaps some unwanted kids he was forced to feed due to the custody battle he lost in civil court. And with the money running tight and his dick being bent with the rent, he ventured onto TikTok to ensure his children won't go hungry. And while he was making this, he decided to try it for himself first, and this was the last message he ever wrote. He was too busy foaming out the mouth and breakdancing on the floor from the cystic fibrosis this recipe provided that he couldn't even in his last line of defense call emergency services. So he typed this out right before he passed away, hoping that somebody would come across his body and dial 911 before it was too late. A true tragedy we got to witness in front of our own eyes here, but you know what they always say, kiss the cook unless the cook has herpes, and this man dove through all the rules and gave the chef a big fat Slurpee, and sadly that's where he met his own fate. I love garbage. Yeah, I'm just gonna go off a limb here and say this person probably had a stroke or something after trying this, but don't worry, I won't blue ball you guys and not show you the finished result of this monstrosity, but if you thought it looked terrible now, I hate to break it to you, it only gets worse.
Then put all the sauce inside the cabbage and cover with the other part.
I mean, just absolutely beautiful. It's like I'm watching a time lapse of what a shotgun wound does to the human body. This whole video reminds me of that one kitchen massacre scene out at the sausage party. If you listen closely, you can almost hear the screams of terror of the food pleading for their life. There's a lot of things in this video, but the one thing I think is missing is a Live Leak logo on the top right, because this just looks like a torture video a cartel would release, except it's a bunch of dismembered meatballs laying on top of each other. Like, you can't tell me this doesn't look like the scene out of Hannibal where Dr. Lecter removed the top of the victim's head at the dining table.
Preheated at 390.
Voila, all of that blood, sweat, tears, and semen just to get an overgrown cyst as your finished product. If this meal was presented on MasterChef, I'm sure all 3 judges would spit it out just so they can eat it again, like King Neptune did with the Krabby Patty when he was boxing Floyd Mayweather or whatever. All of that just to have it turn out like a tumor that got removed from a person's body. I'm sure every member of the Addams family would just be pleased on how this turned out. But if you think this woman should be arrested, wait until I show you more, because she literally posts hundreds of these almost every single week from Monday to Sunday of just the most disgusting, unbearable concoctions a human could ever think of. I'm pretty sure some of these would even make Andrew Zimmern toss and turn at night. If you're going to make meatballs, you can't leave out the pasta, and that's exactly what Flomo Crafts made sure she didn't forget, because she uploaded a whole separate pasta recipe consisting of normal ingredients this time, such as noodle, chopped lamb, sternum, and some juices that were found out of a Wuhan fish market dumpster, and diced gizzard. Completely off topic, but I feel like everybody that tried a gizzard immediately develops an interest in incest. It's like a Louisiana version of the forbidden fruit. As soon as you bite into a gizzard, you immediately just start finding your sister attractive. But to really just put the icing on the cake, she labeled this as an ASMR tutorial. So not only do my taste buds get violated, but I also get sexually assaulted as well. Really just knocking 2 birds out with 1 stone here. And this one, Flomo.
One pot dinner recipe, ready in 15 minutes.
I mean, this song is something you can just relax to a Fortnite battle bus. I mean, this song is something you can just relax to I mean, this is just a song you can relax in a bubble bath to. Nothing says ASMR like a kid with Parkinson's shredding on an air guitar. I can feel my chakra being aligned with that goofy goober ass guitar solo that's being played in the background, and this woman's voice, it's just something you can lounge out to in a log cabin if it was currently catching on fire.
After that time, uncover the lid and add 170 grams of tuna. Stir to combine.
Like, there's no way this woman doesn't purposely try to piss people off at this point. She'll start off every video relatively normal and then progressively just make it into something the Honey Boo Boo family would create in a trailer home. It's always so confusing. It's like I'm watching an American greeting a person from Japan for the first time. Whenever the Japanese man bows down to say hello, the American man goes for a handshake and accidentally ends up slapping him in the fucking face. Like, she really had me sold until she dumped a can of cat food onto it. It generally looked like something I would eat, but then there's always that one extra step she has to add that just makes me want to go on Ramadan.
When I make burgers like this, there are no leftovers.
Well, yeah, I'm sure there isn't when everybody throws it in the fucking trash can. This bitch talks like the manager off of Krabby O Mondays and makes burgers like it too. The most important meal of the day, serving up Gary's way looking ass dish. Whenever your burgers look like a healing scab that's being paper mache wrapped in divorce settlement papers, I think it's time to call in the cab and head your ass back home, because no patty should look like a bird flopped a big fat turd in the frying pan. But honestly, I think I'm gonna wrap the video up there because I don't think my stomach can take any more of this. I'm currently on the line with CDC after watching these acts of terrorism being performed. Look, if you guys couldn't tell, this was a filler video because my ideas were currently running drier than a Mormon's hymen, so I thought since this woman kept on popping up on my For You page, why not make a video on her? And I probably only got 7 days left to survive because each and every one of her videos felt like I was watching a VHS tape off of the fucking Ring movie. But if you guys want to share your own cooking abilities that doesn't involve digging up graves, then feel free to join my Discord server. The link will be down in the description. Make sure you guys slap a like on this video for your dad slaps you, subscribe to hit my vibe, and follow all my socials. Links will be down below, especially my Instagram. If you don't, then I might have to make out with your mother, so I mean, it's a price to pay. Sorry if this video was relatively short. Like I said before, I was running out of ideas, so I thought a little shit post here and there couldn't hurt. I'll promise to make the next one longer because I know this is probably like one of the shortest videos I ever posted in the last like year. But thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. I'm gonna head out this bitch.
Cutting, dripping in the bench, shouldn't let my homie in, yeah. You from Minnesota, cause you looking like my twin, yeah. Careful with these thoughts, cause they always on some shit, yeah. Be careful with your bros, cause they always gonna switch, yeah. Cutting, dripping in the bench, shouldn't let my homie in, yeah. You from Minnesota, cause you looking like my twin, yeah. Careful with these thoughts, cause they always on some shit, yeah. Be careful with your bros, cause they always gonna